Hi guys, Sean Barton here from Towards IT. I enjoyed making my little talk yesterday. Rather therapeutic for me whilst I was driving, but today I'm not driving, I'm at home, well, I'm in the boat, and I've got a bit of time, so I thought I would try and address some of the questions that cropped up after yesterday's video. So I put a post in the group asking for more things for me to talk about, and yeah, I've got a few on there, and obviously more than happy to have more ideas coming through. So thanks a lot for your support on that. This little chat is about child themes, and a lot of the questions that were actually raised were already answered. But it's always nice for, well, basically, it's nice for me to blather on about them because I'm like that. So here we go. A lot of people are saying, "What's a child theme? Why am I using one? Or why should I be using one? Or should I be using one?" Is probably the more accurate way of saying it. And they're wanting to know what's the deal. They've all bought Divi, or we've all bought Elegant Theme subscriptions. So why is it that we have to then make another theme to go with it? And the answer is we don't really. Well, you don't have to, but it's actually very recommended that you do. So here's a great example for you. So you make a site for your client, and you feel the need to add some custom CSS. Now you might want to put that in the, I don't know, the Jetpack custom CSS box, or the Divi theme options custom CSS box. There's one in the customizer, which actually is linked to the Divi one as well. There are places within some plugins where you can add custom CSS, or you can edit the Divi style sheet itself. Don't do that, but that's just one of the things that would crop up. I mean, back over the last sort of decade or so that I've been doing this, before page builders became so prolific, it would be fairly normal to grab a theme from somewhere and then effectively take ownership of that theme and modify it to suit your needs. I've always been a fan of writing my own themes anyway, and so I tend not to rely on what other people write, but in effect what I'm doing is writing my own grid system every time. I'm writing my own sort of base box model every time, and I'm just going nuts in the style sheet of this theme. And of course there's not going to be any updates to that theme because I've written it for a client's job. But in this sort of more modern market where we can all go across to Elegant Themes and grab one, we can all go across to Theme Forest or anywhere else, and we can grab just a theme off the shelf that suits the needs of our client. You think, that's great, I really like it if that theme did what it does, but looks a bit different. And some themes, as you know, are really good with that sort of stuff, in that you can go into the various different settings pages and check a box or set a colour, and magically the entire site updates. But unfortunately, that's not always the case when it comes to third-party themes. And actually, some are really shoddily written. Some are just written for the sake of the sort of the demo example and nothing else, and so you end up wanting to butcher them. Now, sort of back in the day, as it was, quite a while ago now, you would just edit it, and that's fine because you just wouldn't bother updating the theme if an update come out. But what happens if on that magical day your client logs into their site and sees a big orange "Update Now" banner and clicks it? It'll happen to all of us. It will happen on a continual basis. It's fairly normal for people to do that. We have to assume that people are going to do that. If you can update, you will, even though you probably shouldn't. I mean, on some sites, I will just press update on plugins specifically. On a lot of sites, I'll actually go and check the... great, the sun comes out. It's brilliant, that, isn't it? Right. There we go. Wrong window. There we go. On some sites... Sun's been out in all day, and it comes out now. Just decided to make a video. I tend to press the update button for plugins that I know are going to be quite stable, or not too big, or not mission critical. But actually, on ones that are, I tend to have a look at the changelog and see if there's anything major in there, or see if it's a minor update, major update. Now, as we've found with the likes of WooCommerce, for instance, if clients get a bit update happy, some stuff can break, and does break quite frequently. So, it's always helpful to have a staging server in place to do that. But that's not the point of this chat. This is all about child themes. But themes can be updated as well. Divi is updated fairly regularly, and we all do the same thing. We all press the big update button, and it updates. Now, if you took the adding your custom CSS to the Divi style.css file, big no-no. Well, what's going to happen when you update is that's going to be removed and reverted back to the Divi standards. So we never do that. In fact, we never make any changes to any files in the Divi directory at all. That is a massive, massive don't do this, because every single time you update, that entire theme folder gets replaced with the new zip file, the new version of the theme from Elegant Themes themselves. And that's the same for any theme developer anywhere, and any plugin, actually, you should be aware. The second you update, all of your stuff is gone, so you can never ever edit a parent theme unless you own it, as in you have ownership of the code rather than you've bought it. And this is where child themes come in, because what a child theme is designed for is it's designed to sit somewhere between your keyboard and the actual theme code itself, and it's a bit of an override process. So effectively, you add a child theme, which is just the same as a normal theme for all intents and purposes. It's a zip file, you upload it in the same way, you activate it in the same way, and it just says the name of your theme. So it might be your client's name theme or something, and you can white label and brand it to your company however you want. But that child theme doesn't actually have to contain any files bar 1 or 2. I think it's functions.php and style.css, although I'm sure someone will correct me here. Definitely style.css. As far as your website is concerned, that theme is active. Your client theme is instead of Divi. But what it doesn't tell you is that then relies on Divi for all of its functionality and files. So whenever the system asks for the header or the footer or anything else in that theme, or the style sheet, well, the style sheet's slightly different, but or whatever, it goes to the child theme, or goes to the active theme. Now, if the active theme is a child theme, then it will go, great, is that file in the child theme directory? Yes or no. If it's not, it then falls back and has a look in Divi for it. So we never have to mess around with the header, the footer, the sidebars, the post templates, anything. Now there are a bunch of tutorials out there that will give you code to put into that child theme directory, and they'll say copy and paste all this information into single.php or whatever in your child theme directory, and now copy and paste all this CSS into your child theme CSS file, and then you go and visit a blog post and magically everything looks sort of like the demo. And isn't that fantastic? So a child theme is a theme that sits, is a theme that is never subject to updates because you've made it, and it's not controlled by Divi itself or by anybody else, and you can go nuts in there. Anything you add is yours. Isn't that fantastic? And there are two main files that are the most useful places in your child theme to add any form of custom information, and that is style.css, which is used for any CSS you want to add, and that gets loaded, every page loaded in the same way that a normal style sheet does, in addition to the Divi style sheet itself. And what that means is you've got a file that is yours, and you can use your editor of choice, or you can use the appearance editor, or whatever to use it. You can put as much CSS in there as you want, save it, and the second you go and reload your page, it's there. The other file is functions.php. Every theme has a functions.php file, and in your child theme, all yours is likely to do is have a line there that says, call the parent style sheet. You don't need to worry about that. If you download a child theme from somewhere like a bare bones one, it's either going to have a line in the style sheet or a line in the functions.php that references the Divi style sheet. But don't worry about it, just don't delete it. Everything else, empty file, blank canvas, do what you want. Functions.php, much like style.css, gets called on every single page load, which means that that file is included on every single page. So if you want to add custom post types, you get custom post types, custom admin stuff, you want to include custom modules, if you wanted to override certain functions, take away hooks, filters. Now a lot of this stuff is probably a different language to Harvey, because if you don't know how to use PHP, then or if you don't know how to use a child theme, then you're probably not likely to know how to use PHP. But have no fear, because there is so much code floating around in the various different Facebook groups or different sort of Divi-oriented websites, where it'll say, copy this into your functions.php and copy that into your style sheet, and XYZ will happen. And it's true. And when they say that, what they mean is open up your FTP or open up your appearance editor, and edit the functions.php or the style.css of your child theme. They do not mean edit the functions.php or style.css of Divi itself. Okay, big difference there. So, but what is it otherwise? What is a child theme for? In its simplest form, it is somewhere to put custom CSS. It's somewhere to put custom PHP, or PHP that you've grabbed from the internet or whatever. Now, you could put it anywhere else in the system, or the Divi theme options page or whatever. I use that quite a lot personally, the box at the bottom of the Divi theme options page. It's handy, and with the new version of Divi there's a code editor, but the box is tiny. It's not really the full IDE experience that I personally like, and so what I tend to do is write it in my own editor and then copy and paste it in, but it can get very clogged very quickly, so it's not really ideal. And don't forget, you're ultimately going to hand over this site to the client, and they may well choose a different developer to work with in the future. That's not something you've done wrong, it's just that, that's just the way business goes. And it's lovely for that new developer. I mean, you could be the new developer, you could take over a site from somebody else. It's lovely as a new developer to grab a site and say, oh, it's using Divi, oh, it's using a child theme, let's go and have a look where the styling is. Yep, it's all in style.css. Let's go and have a look what's in functions.php, so they can tell how that site differs from the core Divi installation, okay? And so it is really helpful if you do that for somebody else, and it's for you as well. So when the client says, oh, the site's gone down, or oh, I need to get a this code that is got an error in this file here somewhere, you've obviously either written or know where to look for sort of the first port of call for custom code, which is in your child theme. Okay, and it's not going to be a very big set of files either to mess around with. Now, it can be, I mean, sort of back in the day, I suppose, again, when we used to write sites sort of as codes, if we were to use a child theme, so if we buy one on Theme Forest and then go, okay, well, I want the header to look a bit different, we would make a child theme and we would copy the header.php from the parent theme into the child theme and edit away. And the second that any of the files within the theme are looking for the header, it first looks in the child theme and sees my changes rather than going to the parent theme, once again making it future-proof. Okay. Now, there is a bit of stigma here sort of coming, because there is a big premium market for child themes, especially around Divi and Extra. It's a great market, and basically what it means is we're all here to use Divi and Extra, which is fine. But you go over to an Elegant Marketplace or somewhere and you go and buy a child theme. You say, I want my site to look like that. And you download it, it's a zip file, it's got a README in it, it's got a JSON in it, and it's got a zip file for the child theme. And you follow the instructions and you upload the child theme and you import the JSON and you add some CSS or whatever you want to do, they're all different. So, and you have a site that looks exactly as the designer intended, so you're using Divi, you're using a child theme with all the custom CSS written for you, and you subsequently have somewhere to go and sort of place any custom extra CSS or functions that you want to add. The problem in that case is that if that child theme developer chooses to update their child theme, you may be prompted to update on your site. Now, whether that's through the auto update script so that you get the yellow bar, which your client may well mush, or if it's just an email that comes out, it might be the theme designer says, oh, big security issue found in my child theme, please update to this version that's on my website. And that's fantastic, except for when you've made custom changes to that, in which case you're going to lose them because you're going to overwrite the same problem. I believe there is a concept or a process where you can have child themes or grandchild themes, where let's say you've got a custom header.php, then Divi has a header.php, your child theme might have a header.php, and the grandchild theme might also have a header.php, which ultimately is the one that it looks for. So the theme engine at the page load will go, I need the header, and the system will go, okay, what sort of theme are we using? Great, this theme hasn't got one. Right, is there a parent theme? Yep, right, it's a parent theme, got one. Yep, okay, we'll use that then. Or if there's a child theme, got one. Yep. If the grandchild theme hasn't got a header.php, then it goes up a level, looks in the child theme. If there is not one there, it goes up a level and looks in the Divi theme itself. And of course, there will be one there. So I've never used one, but it's actually worth looking into. So if you do use an off-the-shelf child theme, do actually investigate, or maybe have a chat with the theme designer about whether they're likely to update the theme, or whether or not they're likely to just release it as is, which is perfectly normal, and not update it. Just if that does happen, just have a look into the concept of a grandchild theme. So the premium market's great. There's a vast difference in the quality levels of child themes. I'm not saying some are great and some are not, but I'm kind of saying some are great and some are not. At the most basic level, you will activate a child theme that you've bought from a zip file, and suddenly your site will look different, which is fantastic. A lot of child themes, especially the better ones, will actually come with layouts in the form of a JSON file, which you can import into the Divi library, and that's something which the instructions will probably be given from the child theme or for themselves. You generally won't be given any custom CSS to add in if you buy a child theme, because of course it'll already be added for you in the child theme CSS. But again, do have a look at the README files that for whichever one you buy. The other alternative is if you don't buy a child theme, but you're just wanting to add one for future-proofing purposes, and so you've got somewhere to put your PHP and somewhere to put your custom CSS. Have a look at either making one yourself, which if you Google how to make a child theme and go and have a look at the the WordPress codex, it does give you a very, very clear idea of how to do that. It's quite a simple process. There are bare bones child themes available online that you can just download and then open up the files and edit them. Or there is a child theme maker function on the Elegant Marketplace website, which is really cool actually. So you visit the Elegant Marketplace site, it's all free, and the child theme maker page, and you eventually fill in a form. You say what you want the child theme to be called, you tell you who the author is, what the website is, what version it is, and you make all this stuff up. And if you want to, you can upload a screenshot, any custom CSS, and there's a couple of other options as well. And when you press go, it generates a child theme for you in a zip file and provides it as a downloadable link. You then download it and just immediately can go and add it to your site. And what's great about it is it actually includes extra features, I think, like extra social media icons and things. So not only is it a child theme and that you can dump your own CSS and PHP into there, but actually it's a really nice place to, it actually has a bunch of built-in custom functionality. I think it's optional, but a bunch of built-in custom functionality which will also extend your site when you activate it. So yeah, it's a really really cool little script. But so the bottom line here is, should I use a child theme? The answer is yes. I'd say always, really. There's no particular harm in adding one. It's not going to break the site any, and it does add that extra level of sort of what I would say professionalism to any site build, especially from people who are saying, I don't want my clients to know that I'm using Divi. Well, actually, if you use a child theme, then when they see the active theme, they're going to see one with their own company name there. And yes, I mean, obviously the Divi theme will be in that list as well, but you know, there's no harm in that. Obviously Divi builders will still be there and will still work. The other question I think I saw was, can I move to a child theme after the fact? So once a site is already established, without a child theme, can you subsequently add one? And the answer is yes, you can. There are actually a bunch of free plugins in the WordPress.org plugin directory, or the built-in plugin directory within WordPress. If you type child theme into the plugins add new page within your own WordPress installation, there's loads on there, and they all basically do the same job, some better than others. And I'll have a look, read the reviews, because I don't use those scripts, but I've used one once or twice and it worked really well. You know, it will copy all of your customizer settings across, and any custom sort of settings that would be wiped out, things like widgets and stuff. When you change theme, you lose your widgets, don't you? Some of these child theme makers or child theme sort of builder plugins will take that into consideration and will actually add those for you into the new active theme. So start the process, you're using Divi, you add a child theme maker plugin. You then visit the settings page for this new plugin you've added, fill in a few boxes, press go, and it will then change your theme. It duplicates the theme. It makes a child theme for Divi for you, with the options that you've chosen, and it just works. So there is no time like the present to go and add one to your site, whether or not you've started with Divi as a core, whether or not you've bought one off the shelf, or whether or not you're going to make one yourself. It's entirely up to you. If you're going to make one yourself, some knowledge of PHP is going to be quite useful. So the recommended routes are either buy one, which is obviously you'd only really do if you wanted the sort of the styling of your site to look different, or you would make one using a child theme maker, like the Elegant Marketplace one, / you download a bare bones one, like an empty one, and edit it. So that's about it for today. There you go, 21 minutes, not too bad. It beats the 50 odd from yesterday. I hope I've given you some information in here. There's no sort of plugging of anybody's plugins in this one, because frankly there are no premium plugins in this case that I know of that will help you along your way. A child theme is a child theme. It is what it is. Add one to your site. It's really handy. If a site is super duper basic, then by all means do use the custom CSS box on the Divi theme options page. But for the sake of 5 minutes of your life, you might as well go and add it to each install you do, even if you keep an empty child theme that you've generated or built yourself, just for the sake of adding. It won't affect anything. If you don't have for instance, if you don't have a header.php in your child theme, then the header won't change. And if you don't have an index or a footer or a single.php in your child theme, nothing will change. So it's not like your site's going to break. You simply activate this new child theme and everything effectively stays the same, except that you have this lovely new place to go and put your own code, or put code that you found online or whatever. So yeah, really, really handy. Do sort of fire back any questions at me, either on this video or in the group, and I'll hopefully be able to answer as best I can. If not, somebody else in the community will be as well. Looking for more things to talk about, so do let me know. Thanks very much. Cheers.